Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu. Homage to our teacher, most venerable Pinat Lakusan Mahanse. Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu. Dear Dhamma friends, now Buddha's teachings before Buddha attained Parinibbana after 80 years, after he became 80 years, so he attained Parinibbana at the age of 80. He became the Buddha at the age of 35, like 45 years. He was preaching the Dhamma. He was helping the people to escape this long journey of samsara. So his teaching before he attained Parinibbana, the teaching was represented by 9 types of teachings, right? What are they? Sutta, or these a description of Sutta explained. Geya. So there's Sutta, and at the end of that one, there's some Gatha summarizing that one. Vyakarana, for example, Vyakarana. So Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Sutta Geya Vyakarana. Then Gatha. So Gatha, so for example, Dhammapada. So all these Gathas. And Udana, so when he has a happy moment, so he said all of a sudden that from his from words, there's some saying, right? Udana. Then Iti Uttaka, so Buddha said this way, because Buddha, when he said them certain way, it won't happen other way. Then Jataka, about his previous life stories. We have 548 stories, we call 550 stories, Jataka stories. That's very interesting, Jataka stories about his past life and others' lives as well. And then Adbhuta Dhamma. Those Adbhuta Dhamma is very special for the Buddhas. They are not equal with other regular people, right? So another one is Vedalla, the questions and answers. So usually the one enlightened monk is asking question, and another enlightened monk is replying. Usually that Sariputta Bhante used to give that some enlightened monks came and asked some questions, and Sariputta Bhante gave answers. There's another one that Dhammadinna Bhikkhuni, he gave some answers as well. There's the dialogue with them. This is called Vedalla. Now, we are going to learn that one of the beautiful sutta from Majjhima Nikaya, which is called the Mahāvedallasutta. So that, now one day that Kottita and enlightened monks, that time actually our Supreme Buddha was living in the Jetavanarama monastery, Anathapindika's park. That evening, then Venerable Mahakottita rose from his meditation. He woke up from his meditation, went to Venerable Sariputta. He went to see the Sariputta Bhante and exchanged greeting with him. So what happened? Then when his this friendly talk was finished, he sat down at one side and said to the Venerable Sariputta, and he started to ask some questions. Okay, it is very important that we learn that those questions and answers, right? So we'll discuss those questions and answers, and I'm going to share with you that document. So then you can help me to read the questions, and you can try to find the answers as well. Okay, so let me share that document with you. You can see, right? You can see that there is a 40 third sutta, Mahāvedallasutta, the greater series of questions and answers. So, you know, Majjhima Nikaya, then you are expert of Majjhima Nikaya. How many suttas in Majjhima Nikaya, the middle length discourses altogether? People give the answer, I don't hear.
152, Bhante.
150 suttas. This is for third sutta. Okay. So now you can see that, okay, whatever I explained, right, this is the way I heard, because Anandamante is reporting this sutta after Buddha in the first Sangha Council. That time Supreme Buddha was living in Jetavana Monastery, and Mahakottita Bhante, he was an enlightened monk that time. Sambhidalabi, an enlightened monk, and he went to see the Sariputta Bhante. Sariputta Bhante was foremost from the wisdom, right? He went to see, and he sat down and asked him the question. Okay, now, so here, can you see this question? Okay. Okay, one who is unwise is said, friend, with reference to what is this said? One who is unwise. Okay, so that's the question. Who is unwise? According to your definition, who is unwise?
Bhante, as somebody who doesn't know the teachings of Buddha, and still have the ignorance. Okay.
Yeah, so if you summarize, that is all the teachings of the Buddha.
Someone who doesn't follow the precepts, Bhante?
Not the precepts, there are 4 things.
The noble truths, Bhante? 4 noble truths.
4 noble truths. Okay. Then he explained that, okay, somebody can read this one. Some volunteer?
I can read.
Yes.
One does not wisely understand. One does not wisely understand, friend. That is why it is said, one who is unwise. And what doesn't one wisely understand? One doesn't wisely understand. This is suffering. One doesn't wisely understand. This is the origin of suffering. One does not wisely understand. This is the cessation of suffering. One does not wisely understand. This is the way leading to the cessation of suffering. One does not wisely understand. One does not wisely understand, friend. That is why it is said, one who is unwise.
Yeah, so if somebody does not understand, this is the noble truth of suffering. This is noble. This is the reason for suffering. This is the cessation of suffering. This is the path to follow to end the suffering. Somebody who does not know that means he is unwise, right? So usually that in this world, they are trying to hide the suffering, right? If they're trying to hide the suffering, right? For example, if somebody died, right? They try to make the body really nice, that like sleeping. Then people talk about, oh, he was really nice. That body was really nice, like he was sleeping or she was sleeping, right? So something like that. They are trying to hide the suffering. If somebody is trying to hide the suffering, he's trying to hide the reason for suffering and cessation for suffering, and also is trying to hide the path to end the suffering. Okay, so there's a real suffering in this life, right? So, and if somebody does not know that, so the Four Noble Truth, it is said, he is unwise. Okay, now saying good friend Kottita Bhante, Venerable Mahakottita, delighted and rejoiced in the Venerable Sariputta's word. Then he asked him a further question. Okay, so, and this question, one who is wise is said friend, with reference to what is this said, one who is wise. Who is wise then? You know the answer. Who is wise? Who understands the
Or noble truth.
Four Noble Truths. Okay. So then he replied, okay, somebody can help me to read this answer? Any volunteer?
I can read, Bhante.
Yes.
One wisely understands, friend. That is why it is said, one who is wise. What does one wisely understand? One wisely understands this is suffering. This is the origin of suffering. One wisely understands. This is the cessation of suffering. One wisely understands. This is the way leading to the cessation of suffering. One wisely understands, friend. That is why it is said, one who is wise.
Yes. And then after that, he was satisfied that question. So Kottita Bhante asked another question. Consciousness is said, friend, with reference to what is consciousness said, right? Then what is consciousness, right? So what is consciousness, and with reference to what is consciousness said? Now answer. So it cognizes, okay, somebody can read that?
Yes, Bhante, I can try, Bhante.
Yeah.
It cognizes, friend. That is why consciousness is said. What does it cognize? It cognizes this is pleasant. It cognizes this is painful. It cognizes this is neither painful nor pleasant. It cognizes, friend. That is why consciousness is said.
Consciousness, that means it identifies. So identifies that this is pleasant or painful, neither pleasant nor painful. Okay, and here it knows that is a pleasant or unpleasant feeling. Sometimes, especially identify that is the blue color. It identifies blue color or red color. So some suttas explains, right? So red color and white color. So it is especially identifies or knows that that is called consciousness, I said. And how many? Then after that. How many consciousness we can see in our six faculties, right? How many consciousness? The eye consciousness, ear consciousness, then nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness, and mind consciousness. Okay, so after that, there's another question is asking Kottita Bhante. Okay, this question. Can you see that wisdom and consciousness, friend, are these states co-joined or disjoined, conjoined or disjoined? And is it possible to separate each of these states from the other in order to describe the difference between them? What do you think? So wisdom and consciousness, the two different things. Okay, are they same? They are joined together or they are separated? So is it possible to separate each of them, or is this status? What do you think? Okay, now he explained, Sariputta Bhante, this is the answer. Wisdom and consciousness, friend. Okay, someone else can read. Join with us.
May I read, Bhante?
Yes, yes.
Wisdom and consciousness, friend, these states are conjoined, not disjoined, and it is impossible to separate each of these states from the other in order to describe the difference between them. For what one wisely understands, that one cognizes, and what one cognizes, that one wisely understands. That is why these states are conjoined, not disjoined, and it is impossible to separate each of these states from the other in order to describe the difference between them.
Okay, so that very hard to describe them. What is those are all together, and wisdom and consciousness. So which one is in the Four Noble Truths, wisdom or consciousness? So which, okay, if I ask okay, can you say the answer?
Wisdom, Bhante.
Wisdom is in which noble truth?
In the fourth noble truth, Bhante, wisdom.
Yeah, in the fourth noble truth, you know, that the path to follow, that's the wisdom. And consciousness in which noble truth?
First noble truth, Bhante.
First noble truth. Why it is that? Because all the suffering we can summarize into 5 aggregates of clinging, right? Form aggregate of clinging, feeling aggregate of clinging, right? Perception aggregate of clinging, and volitional formation aggregate of clinging, and consciousness aggregate of clinging. So consciousness is in the first noble truth. Wisdom is the 4 noble truths. Okay, so you know that the reason and cause. Okay, reason and cause. This is called if there's a reason, it is the cause will change. So all these noble truths are reason in the subject to reason cause. Or that if the reason and cause, it is changing, reason change, cause change. This is called Sankata, right? In Pali, it is called Sankata. If something is not changing, this we call, it is not reasoned. There's no, the result doesn't change. It's called Asankata, right? So in the 4 noble truths, which one is Sankata and which one is Asankata? First noble truth, it is Sankata or Asankata. It is a reason, and because there's a reason. Second noble truth?
Sankata.
Second noble, yeah, there's a reason for suffering. And third noble truth?
Asankata.
Asankata. And fourth noble truth?
Sankata.
Sankata, but the path to follow, when you follow the path, that it will generate the enlightenment, cessation of suffering. It doesn't change. It doesn't change it to other way, right? Because it is asankata. Okay, so and this wisely understand. That's why these they are conjoined, not disjoined. Okay, so he asked a further question. What is the difference, friend, between wisdom and consciousness? These states that are co-joined, not just disjoined. What is the difference between those two? Wisdom and consciousness. Any answer you can think of that? What's the difference between them? They are together, right? Okay, let's read the answer. Okay. Somebody can read this one?
Bhante, I will read.
Oh, okay. Yes,
Yes, go ahead.
Wisdom.
Where am I starting at? Wisdom, or what is the difference?
The difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the difference, friend, between wisdom and consciousness? These states that are co-joined, not disjoined. The difference, friend, between wisdom and consciousness, These states that are co-joined, not disjoined, is this. Wisdom is to be developed. Consciousness is to be fully understood.
Yeah. So consciousness, we have to understand fully, and wisdom, we have to develop. Okay. So then after that, the feeling. Feeling is said, friend, with reference to what feeling said, right? So, okay, answer, somebody can read that.
I can read Bhante.
Yes.
It feels, friend. That is why feeling is said. What does it feel? It feels pleasure. It feels pain. It feels neither pain nor pleasure. It feels, friend. That is why feeling is said.
Yeah, so it feels that how we get the feeling. So with the contact, right? Contact for eye and form and eye consciousness. With the unification of those three, we get the contact. So with the contact, we get the feeling for forms. So, and from ears, we hear the sound. With our attention, it will generate the consciousness of our ear. So unification of that three, this contact of the ear. So we'll get the feeling for the sound, right? Likewise, contact of nose, we get the feeling for the smells and taste and, touch, all these things. Okay, now, perception is said, friend, with reference to what is perception said. Okay, someone can read this one.
Bhante, I can read.
Yes, sure, go ahead.
It perceives, friend. What, friend, that is why perception is said. What does it perceive? It perceives blue, it perceives yellow, it perceives red, and it perceives white. It perceives, friend. That is why perception is said.
Yeah, so, and then after that, he asks another question. Feeling, perception, and consciousness, friend, are these states conjoined or disjoined? And is it possible to separate each of these states from the others in order to describe the difference between them? Okay, now actually he is replying them. Somebody can read this one.
I can read Bhante.
Yes, go ahead.
Feeling, perception, and consciousness, friend, these states are conjoined, not disjoined, and it is impossible to separate each of these states from the others in order to describe the difference between them. For what one feels, that one perceives, and what one perceives, that one cognizes. That is why these states are conjoined, not disjoined, and it is impossible to separate each of these states from the others in order to describe the difference between them.
Yeah, it is very hard to separate, and they are co-joined. And there's an, that you must have heard about the Nagasena Bhante. Nagasena Bhante there was a debate with Nagasena Bhante and King Milinda. One time that he asked that King Milinda, there's a question and answers. King Milinda asked from Nagasena Bhante, Bhante, if you take that water from, Nagasena Bhante explains that take the water from the sea, it is very hard to differentiate this water is from, there are four great river. This is which kind of river? It is river Ganges or river Achiravati, Sarabu, Mahi. We cannot separate that, right? But Nagasena Bhante explained there is a possibility some person they take the water and he can separate them out into this water. This portion of water is from river Ganges. This portion of water is from Achiravati, Sarabu, Mahi. But however, separation from feeling, perception, and consciousness, that Buddha did. It's amazing things, very hard to think that we can do. What he did from his great wisdom, right? So that's why we came to know this. All those things are together. So it is very great thing that it is the Buddha's explanation. Only Buddhas can separate them, no one else. Okay, now, so after that, Kotida Bhante asked this question again. Friend, what can be known by purified mind consciousness released from 5 faculties? Right? Friend, what can be known by purified mind consciousness released from 5 faculties? You know, that's our consciousness are with the 5 faculties, right? For ears, it is ear consciousness. So, and eye, it is eye consciousness. Nose, it is nose consciousness. Then tongue is tongue consciousness. Body is body consciousness, and mind consciousness as well, right? So, is there any consciousness released from all these 5 faculties? What do you think? Then after that, Sariputta Bhante explained, right? So, answer, can someone read this answer?
I will read, Bhante.
Yes.
Friend, by purified mind consciousness released from the 5 faculties, the base of infinite space can be known thus. Space is infinite. The base of infinite consciousness can be known thus. Consciousness is infinite, and the base of nothingness can be known thus. There is nothing.
Yeah, so there, you know, that when you go to 4th jhana, it is, you know, it is not with they are released from 5 faculties. Then it explains about mind consciousness, right? So released from the 5 faculties based on infinite space, also released from that 5 faculties, infinite space, that and also infinite consciousness, and then after that nothingness. So then here it doesn't explain neither perception nor non-perception, because above that the fourth jhana, right? Because that nothingness, it is you know, that it's very hard to identify that for the inside. That is the only these things they are not released from 5 faculties. Okay, and then Kotida Bhante asked again, friend, with what does one understand a state that can be known? Okay, friend, with what does one understand a state that can be known? Okay, so there he explains, friend, one understand a state that can be known with the eye of wisdom. So they can understand all these things with the not the naked eye. So eye of wisdom. So and so eye of wisdom. And he asked further, friend, what is the purpose of wisdom? What is the purpose of wisdom? And so someone can read this one. What is the purpose of wisdom?
Bhante, I will read.
Yes.
The purpose of wisdom, friend, is direct knowledge. Its purpose is full understanding. Its purpose is abandoning.
Yeah. How many things in the purpose of wisdom? There are 3 things here. Okay. The purpose of wisdom, friend, is direct knowledge, understanding that that achieving that highest level of understanding that from the wisdom, and its purpose is fully understand the reality, understand impermanent nature of this one, and also its purpose is abandoning. So after abandoning the attachments, all these 3 things, friend, what is that purpose of wisdom? The purpose of wisdom, friend, is direct knowledge, and its purpose is full understanding, and purpose of abandoning. Okay, and penetrating the things, and after that, so understanding fully. Okay, now let's go to Next question. So,
But Bante, I have a question before you go.
yes,
Can I
sure.
ask a question on the 12? So could it also mean direct knowledge as the Four Noble Truths? Its purpose of full understanding, could it be the 12 links of dependent origination? And its purpose is abandoning is the Noble Eightfold Path? Can one understand it in this way as well?
Yeah, I mean that is actually it doesn't give that many details here. The direct knowledge is that is penetrating knowledge, right? So what is this one, and its purpose of full understanding, that after penetrating knowledge, so you can apply this one, and it's fully understanding. For example, that if you take the Four Noble Truths, right, you know that understanding, and also it is fully understanding. So you try to understand full length at this suffering, and also reason for suffering, all those things. And so after understanding that, you try to abandon or your attachment, right? So if you attach to some that some things, some sensual desire, so you try to abandon that one. You are trying to release the attachment with the hatred and lust, all those things. Okay.
Thank you, Bante.
All right. Okay, so let's go to next one. Friend, how many conditions are there for the rising of right view? So rising of right view, how many conditions are there? Okay, so then Sariputta Bhante answered this way. So there are someone can read this one?
Yes, Bhante, I can read.
Yes.
Friend, there are two conditions for the arising of right view: the voice of another and wise attention. These are the two conditions for the arising of right view.
Yeah, the voice of another, that means parato goes apratya. So you hear the true Dhamma from someone else. Then you do the wise consideration from yourself. So wise consideration is coming from towards you, internally from you. So it will come with that, whatever the good karma you have, it will come from you. So there's a possibility that some people, they live that they have wise attention, right? Wise consideration, but even the Buddha's time, there are some people, so they were fishing. 500 people, they were fishing, right? They are fishermen. And fishermen, what they do, right? They catch fish, right? Is a wholesome thing or unwholesome things, right? One day they got caught that name called fish Kapila. Maybe you must have heard about this one. They thought, okay, he was very, very beautiful, so he's very strange, that they decided, okay, let's bring this fish to King Pasenadi Kosala. So King Pasenadi Kosala, so when he saw that this different kind of beautiful fish, he asked that his name was Kapila, that type of fish. So he advised, okay, bring this fish to Supreme Buddha. Then Supreme Buddha, all the 500, all these boys, they brought the fish, Kapila fish, to Supreme Buddha. Then Supreme Buddha, using his psychic powers, Supreme Buddha let the fish to talk. He talked that, okay, the previous life, he was a monk, but however, he was not protecting. He was not protecting his mouth. He was using, against all the enlightened monks. He used his mouth against other one, and so because he was protecting precept from his body, so he was beautiful, but he used his mouth very badly, and he was born into as a fish. And he asked, and he said his mother and sister, they all ordained, and they were none, but however they were in the hell. So his brother, and he followed a noble path very well, that he became enlightened. So after this one, and so he said he will be born into hell. So he said this one, he by himself, he hit his head to the container, he died, and he was born into hell. So after seeing this one, all these 500 boys or fishermen, they became enlightened. They became monks and they became enlightened. Even the thieves, so they had, even though they were doing that unwholesome things, they had wise consideration or wise attention, right? But all these things came out from outside from them. Then that time, this is appeared. It's same like this one. So think about that, a lotus came out from water, and it is not popping up. It is not, popping up without sunlight. As soon as sunlight came to that the flower lotus, it will pop up, right? So same like that. Even though people have wise attention, wise consideration, so they should receive the Dhamma from someone else, right? We call Kalyan Mitra. So then that time, so in the Buddha's time, there are some other professions. They did bad profession, like they were some were prostitutes, some were thieves, and as soon as they heard the Buddha's Dhamma, so their wise consideration came that they brought from by birth, right? So if somebody is following that, all these, they are trying to understand these Buddha's teachings, and they are following according to Dhamma, and they are trying to follow that all the faculties, and also that impermanent nature of those faculties, and 5 aggregates of clinging, and maybe dependent origination. Maybe after they are dead, they will be born into heavenly world, but they will have the wise consideration. So this is the way that wise consideration they will bring from their birth. But in order to come up, so we have to, even for example, that's Sariputta Bhante. So Sariputta Bhante went to Sanjaya Paribhajaka. So his teacher was Sanjaya. So he was teaching, but they were listening to those things for some years, but they did not, even though they had wise consideration, it does not pop up, right? So, and so then after that, he saw a monk, enlightened monk. As soon as when he went behind that monk, and he was watching that how he was taking his meal. So he said, "Can you teach me that your Dhamma?" So he said that the 4 lines Gatha. After second line, he understood. He became Sotapanna. He understand everything fully, right? Sotapanna. He became Sotapanna. Then he came to see the Buddha. So even though they have wise consideration, there's a possibility they go for wrong places, but when they hear the true Dhamma, voice of another, and so they will come back to the right. There's 2 conditions for rising of right view. What is that? So voice of another. So you have to receive the true Dhamma, and that from internal wise consideration. So then Kotita Bhante asks another question, friend, by how many factors is right view assisted when it has deliverance of mind for its fruit? Then deliverance of mind for its fruit and benefits. When it has deliverance by wisdom for its fruit, and deliverance by wisdom for its fruit and benefit. Okay, now Sariputta Bhante answered this way, right? And can someone read that sutta?
Yes, Bhante. May I read it?
Yes.
Thank you. Friend, right view is assisted by 5 factors. When it has deliverance of mind for its fruit, deliverance of mind for its fruit and benefit. When it has deliverance by wisdom for its fruit, deliverance by wisdom for its fruit and benefit. Here, friend, right view is assisted by virtue, learning, discussion, serenity, and insight. Right view, assisted by these 5 factors, has deliverance of mind for its fruit, deliverance of mind for its fruit and benefit. It has deliverance by wisdom for its fruit, deliverance by wisdom for its fruit and benefit. Thank you, Bhante.
Okay, so that Prajna, Cheto Vimukti and Prajna Vimukti. So there are 5 factors, assisted by Four Noble Right View, right? So the first one, virtue. So virtue, so that somebody is following that precepts, but he's following that bodily conduct and verbal conduct. It's very important. Some people, they protect their bodily conduct, but they are not very well protected their verbal conduct. So that's why in the Buddha's time, that even the Kokalika, he did not protect his mouth, but he was protecting all these bodily conduct. He talked against the Supreme Buddha, all these Sariputta Bhante and Moggallana Bhante. So he was born into bad destination. But however, so if somebody can, so there are two types that they can protect, and so it's bodily conduct and verbal conduct, very important. So even that fish Kapila, he protected his bodily conduct. He did not protect his verbal conduct. Sometimes there's a possibility we say some certain things for the good people, like enlightened monks or Supreme Buddhas, so that some monks, those who are following that path. So all these bad karma will come to understanding that right view, right? When you try to understand, those bad karma will come and affect you. So therefore, that virtue is very important thing, and learning. So we have to learn this Dhamma, and all the ways. That's why we are learning that Dhamma or the suttas, and important this discussion, that same like the Vedala style, that you can discuss some certain things, and serenity. So that calming and insight, right? So samatha and vidarsana, all these things, right view, all these right view assisted by these factors. Okay, if we satisfied all these 5 factors, so right view is there, right? We can achieve the right view. So, and that is the important thing, all these things. Okay, now further, that Kottita Bhante asked question, friend, how many kinds of being are there? So how many kinds of being are there? And what he is asking, how many kinds of being? And actually arranging of how many kinds of arranging of karma are there? If I rephrase that one, how many kinds of arranging of karma are there? How many kinds of arranging of karma? There are three kinds of arranging karma, right? So there's karma, kama bhava, rupa bhava, right? So there are karma. There are 3 kinds of beings, friends. Sense sphere. That the karma is to be born into sensual world, to be born into form world, and to be born into formless world, right? There are 3 types of arranging karma. And when how is renewal of being in future generated? So how is renewal of being in the future generated? So how they can how come they stop be born into again that these 3 type of next birth, either form world, formless world, or sensual world. So when renewal of being in the future is generated through the delighting in this and that. So that is called tatra tatrabi nandini. So they are happy with whatever they were born. Let's say that they were born into human world, they like to that, but they attach to that. They were born into animal world, they attach to that, they like that. And they were born into heavenly world, they attach to that. Tatra tatrabhinandini. Through the delighting in this and that, on the part of beings who are hindered by ignorance and fettered by craving. That's how we came all these long journey of samsara. And Anomatagga Samhita Supreme Buddha explained that we came long journey of samsara. Why all these things happening? Happened to us hindered by ignorance and fettered by craving. We did not understand that. Then after that, Kottita Bhante is asking, friend, how is renewal of being in the future not generated, not to be born? How we can overcome that to be born again, right? So how we can stop this arranging karma? Friend, with the fading away of ignorance and with the rising of true knowledge, so you remove that ignorance. Why? The ignorance is not knowing Four Noble Truth. With the rising of true knowledge, you understanding the Four Noble Truth, and that's how that you remove that ignorance. And with the cessation of craving, so renewal of a being in future is not generated. So you can overcome that arranging of karma by removing the viraga. So an attachment to this ignorance, attachment to craving and fading away of ignorance. This is the way, right? So they remove the ignorance and remove the craving as well. Okay, now after explaining this one, and he's asking that, and it is going more and more, a little bit deeper now. And what is the first jhana? Okay, what is the first jhana anyway? Now you learned so far the Dhamma. Can you explain to me, someone, that what is first jhana? Okay,
Yes,
if I ask,
Bhante. Yes, Bhante.
yes,
I
if
could give it a
ask,
try. I could give it a try.
okay, but before that, you go to jhana. What is the concentration? What is called samadhi?
We try to get to single-pointed concentration of the breath. So we start with observing the breath first. Short breath as short breath, long breath as long breath.
Yeah,
And
you are
then
trying to concentrate on what?
the bodily feelings that arise as we breathe in and as we breathe out.
Maybe that you are trying to concentrate only formulas of the body, breathing, or for great elements, or 5 aggregates of clinging, right? So so you are trying to concentrate over, okay, that the impermanent nature of faculties. What you are trying to do?
Trying to calm the mind.
You are trying to concentrate, or that samadhi means that you're concentrating on wholesome thing or unwholesome thing?
Wholesome things.
Wholesome thing, right? That is called concentration. And what is first jhana?
Applied and sustained thought.
Yeah, first jhana here, friend, quite secluded from sensual pleasure, secluded from unwholesome states, and a bhikkhu enters upon and abides in the first jhana, which is accompanied by applied and sustained thought, with the rapture and pleasure born of seclusion. So how does it come? Seclusion. Really that you can, if you are secluded, that means you remove 5 hindrances from your mind, right? So what are the 5 hindrances? And what are the five hindrances? Those are the blocking of the development, that sensual pleasure, ill will, and so other one, restlessness and remorse, and
Sloth and
sleepiness.
torpor.
Yes.
And doubt.
And sleepiness and doubt.
Doubt.
Yeah. So when you remove that one, you get the seclusion, and so without, when you get the seclusion, then you can you remove all these unwholesome states from your mind, and then you'll go to the first jhana. So applied sustained thought and sustained thought, rapture, pleasure, and so the concentration. And there's nice explanation. So, and there's another sutta in Anguttara Nikaya, I think book number 5, Tapassu Gurupati Sutta, and he explains that he asked the question from Supreme Buddha. So Anandabhante brought him to Supreme Buddha. He was in the forest. That time he asked that question, Supreme Buddha, how come that you are staying in the forest, and how can you go to that jhana. So, and Buddha explained that even it is very difficult to give up all these sensual pleasures. Buddha explained that time as a bodhisattva, when he was practicing meditation, he wanted to go for jhana, but even though he does not like all this sensual desire, his mind is not going to remove that one. So all the sensual desire, all these thoughts are coming to his mind. Then he observed that why it is happening, because he did not develop the danger of sensual desire. That adinava sanya. He did not practice more and more adinava sanya. If we don't, even though we don't like, we understand as a theory, so the sensual desire is bad and it's bad for our mind. So if you don't see the danger of this one, that impermanent nature of this one, that if we develop the adinava sanya, so then mind does not go to sensual pleasure. So it does go to the detachment of sensual pleasure. So then he could go to the jhana. So then he could concentrate. All right. So that's a nice sutta. You can read that. Then again, that is Kotita Bhante asked, friend, how many factors that the first jhana have? How many factors the first jhana have? Someone can read this one. How many factors?
Hey, Bhante.
Yes.
Okay, friend, the first jhana has 5 factors. Here, when a bhikkhu has entered upon the first jhana, there occur applied thought, sustained thought, rapture, pleasure, and unification of mind. That is how the first jhana has 5 factors. Sadhu.
Yeah, so that the first jhana has 5 factors: those thought and sustained thought, rapture, pleasure, and concentration. So this as a Buddha, as a bodhisattva, when he was thinking about all these sensual desire, the danger, and also bad side of that one, so his mind tried to detach from this sensual desire. His mind is going for wholesome things, and he could attain that the first jhana. Right? So first jhana has all these thought and sustained thought, rapture, pleasure, and unification of mind, concentration. And Kotita Bhante asked again, that, friend, how many factors are abandoned in the first jhana and how many factors are possessed in first jhana? Okay, how many factors abandoned? Now, can someone read this portion?
I will try again, Bhante.
Yes.
Friend, in the first jhana, 5 factors are abandoned and 5 factors are possessed. Here, when a bhikkhu has entered upon the first jhana, sensual desire is abandoned, ill will is abandoned, sloth and torpor are abandoned, restlessness and remorse are abandoned, and doubt is abandoned. And there occur applied thought, sustained thought, rapture, pleasure, and unification of mind. That is how in the first jhana, 5 factors are abandoned and 5 factors are possessed. Thank you.
Yeah, so when that always that mind, always our mind with the 5 hindrances, right? So all these things are not there, so we can develop our mind, and that is that really the seclusion. Otherwise, we call that we want to go for seclusion, we want to get the real relaxed. So we are not relaxed if we have 5 hindrances, because our mind is always busy, right? So with that one. So we always suffering with this one. So that one is not there. These 5 factors are there, right? So what is that? Thought and sustained thought, rapture, pleasure, and unification of mind in wholesome things. Okay. Okay, that now this Kotita Bhante asked that another question, right? Friend, these 5 faculties each have separate field. Okay, 5 faculties. What are the 5 faculties? Eye faculty, ear faculty, nose faculty, tongue faculty, body faculty. Right? All these 5 faculties each have a separate field, a separate domain, and do not experience each other's field and domain. They don't jump into others' domain. right? Same like us, we do. But their domain, they keep their same domain and do not experience each other's field and domain. That is the eye faculty, the ear faculty, the nose faculty, the tongue faculty, and the body faculty. Right, all these faculties. Now of these 5 faculties, each having separate field and separate domain, not experiencing each other's field and domain. What is their resort? What experiences their field and their domain. So they don't, for eye does not try to receive sounds, right? Ear does not try to see forms. Nose does not try to see forms, right? Tongue does not try to smell. So they have separate domain. So eyes, they see forms, ears, they hear sounds, nose, they smell, and tongue, they taste, and body, they experience tangibles. And what is their resort, and what experiences their fields and domains. So who feeds this one, right? Any answer? Can you think of? And their fields and domains. What?
Consciousness and contact?
Okay, let's see that. Okay, now let's.
I don't know.
Okay. All right, so you can read that the answer.
Did you want me to read, Bhante?
Yes, sure, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Friend, these 5 faculties each have a separate field, a separate domain, and do not experience each other's field and domain. That is, the eye faculty, the ear faculty, the nose faculty, the tongue faculty, and the body faculty. Now, these 5 faculties, each having a separate field, a separate domain, not experiencing each other's field and domain, have mind as their resort, and mind experience their fields and domains.
Yeah, mind. So that's how that when you see that, okay, the eye consciousness, the mind is there. And when you hear the sound, mind is there. When you smell from your nose, the mind is there. And tongue, when you taste, that tongue, mind is there. And when you touch something, and its mind is there. That's why when you see someone, you can identify, okay, right away because of your mind. And so if you know known one, unknown one, if you heard some sound, you can identify it because of that. Their resort is mind, experiences their field and domains, right? Okay, so, and for friend, then Kotida Bhante is asking, friend, as to these 5 faculties, that is the eye faculty, the ear faculty, the nose faculty, tongue faculty, and the body faculty. What do these 5 faculties stand in depends on? What do you think?
Contact.
Okay, let's read. Someone can read this one?
I can read that, Bhante.
Yes.
Friend, as to these 5 faculties, that is the eye faculty, the ear faculty, the nose faculty, the tongue faculty, and the body faculty, these 5 faculties stand in dependence on vitality.
Vitality, lifespan, right? All these faculties depend on vitality or lifespan. Then he asked that for the question, friend, what does vitality stand in depends on? Then he explains that vitality stands on dependence on heat, body heat. Okay, and if there's no body heat, that means there's no vitality. Friend, what does heat stands in depends on? Then heat stands in depends on vitality, right? Lifespan. So then Kotida Bhante asked the further question. Just now, friend, we understood the Venerable Sariputta to have said vitality stands in depends on heat, and now we understand him to say heat stands in dependence on vitality. How should the meaning of this statement be regarded? So we can understand this one, and what is the meaning of this one? So then after that, Sariputta Bhante explains this one. Okay, someone can read this one.
I can read, Bhante.
Yes.
In that case, friend, I shall give you a simile, for some wise men here understand the meaning of a statement by means of a simile. Just as when an oil lamp is burning, its radiance is seen in dependence on its flame, and its flame is seen in dependence on its radiance, so too vitality stands in dependence on heat, and heat stands in dependence on vitality.
Yeah, it is, they are depends on each other, right? So it go further, and it will come to a little bit deeper questions. Friend, are vital formations things that can be felt, or are vital formations one thing and things that can be felt another? Okay, that's it's asking that vital formation, are you sanskara? So vital formation, that because people are living because of the ayu sanskara, the lifespan formations, right? And the feeling is something else, or ayu sanskara is something else. That's what he is asking. Okay. Then Sariputta Bhante explains, vital formations, friend, are not things that can be felt. Okay, they are not together. If vital formation were things that can be felt, then the bhikkhu who has entered upon the cessation of perception and feeling would not be seen to emerge from it, because vital formation are one thing and things that can be felt another. A bhikkhu who has entered upon the cessation of perception and feeling can be seen to emerge from it, because this that vital formation, ayu sanskara, and the feeling are two, feeling and perception are two different things. That's why somebody attained a cessation of feeling and perception, nirodha samapatti. Okay, so somebody attains nirodha samapatti. So if he's going to remove that vital formation from his right, then he cannot wake up. So that he removed the feeling and perception, he attained to nirodha samapatti. So then it is two different things, because it is ayu sanskara. Even though he attained that one, he can wake up from that one, right? So from nirodha samapatti. Nirodha samapatti is a cessation of feeling and perception. So it explains in this one that that Kottita Bhante is asking the more and more questions about this one. So it will be understood more to you, friend. When this body is I will give that separate word for this one, given up, right friend? When this body is given up, of how many states is it then discarded, bereft, then discarded and forsaken, left lying senseless like a log, right? It's like a log. And what are those things? Okay, somebody can read this one?
I can read, Bhante.
Yes.
Friend, when this body is bereft of three states, vitality, heat, and consciousness, it is then discarded and forsaken, left lying senseless like a log.
So it's a dead body, right? So three states are not there. Vitality, there's no lifespan, there's no heat, and there's no consciousness. Consciousness went according to its good or bad karma, right? But to be born into bad destination or good destinations, or form world or formless world, right? So there are three things in the dead body. Okay, so that the three things are not there. And then Kottita Bhante is asking, friend, what is the difference between one who is dead, who has completed his time, that means lifespan is over, and a bhikkhu who has entered upon the cessation of perception and feeling, that who entered to Nirodha Samapatti. And everybody understand that perception, cessation of perception and feeling, right? There is a state somebody meditate, they can attain. Only enlightened monks and some non-returner can go to attain that state. That state that somebody attain, so they are not breathing in and out, and their heart is not functioning, but their blood has the oxygen percentage same like the living person. Okay, so and there's a difference between one who dead and the same like dead, right? Heart is not functioning and breathing is not there, and people think that he's the monk has died, right? So, but there's two different things, right? And he's asking that question. Okay, Kottita Bhante. Friend, in this case of one who is dead, who has completed his time, his lifespan is over, his bodily formation have ceased. What is the bodily formation?
In breathing and out breathing, Bhante.
Yes, in breathing and out breathing, right? And subsided. His verbal formation has ceased. Of course, the dead body is not speaking. What is the verbal formation?
Vitakka vichara.
Yeah, thought and sustained thought, right? So applied thought and sustained thought is not thought and sustained thought. That his verbal formation has ceased. And his mental formations, what is his mental formations? Has ceased and subsided. He does not have feeling and perception. It's gone. And his vitality is exhausted, and his heat has been dissipated, and his faculties are fully broken up, right? All these 6 things are there in the dead body. Faculties are broken. In the case of bhikkhu who has entered upon the cessation of perception and feeling, somebody who went to Nirodha Samapatti from the higher achievement of meditation, his bodily formation have ceased. So he stops bodily formation. That means breathing in and out will stop and subsided. His verbal formation have ceased and subsided. Okay, and his mental formation have ceased and subsided, but his vitality is not exhausted. He has a lifespan. His heat has not been dissipated. His body heat is there, and his faculties become exceptionally clear. Right, his faculties are not broken. Okay, now, so which one will come first? I mean, when somebody is going to attain Nirodha Samapatti or cessation of feeling and perception. So which state they will come first, or they subside first? Mental formation or verbal formation, or bodily formation?
Verbal formation, Bhante.
Verbal formation, because when somebody, first of all, he will go to first jhana, right? It has a thought and sustained thought, right? Thought and sustained thought, and a rapture and pleasure and concentration. So sometimes when he is in that first jhana, all these sensual thoughts will come to his mind. Oh, he is that this first jhana is obstacle to him, then he giving up that for thought and sustained thought. He will go to second jhana. So then he is giving up thought and sustained thought, which is verbal formation. Right, then for second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana, when he attend to the fourth jhana, he is giving up bodily formation. He stops his breathing in and breathing out. So when he will go to infinite space, infinite consciousness, nothingness, neither perception nor non-perception state, right? Then after that, he will go to removing his feeling and perception. He will go to cessation of feeling and perception state. This is called Nirodha Samapatti. Okay, so this is the way it will go, that he will remove his mental formations. So when he is waking up, or he waking up from his concentration, cessation of feeling and perception, which will come first?
The mental formation will come first, Bhante.
Mental formation, because when he is waking up from cessation of feeling and perception, he will come to neither perception nor non-perception, that state. So when the feeling and perception is there, then he will come down to fourth jhana. From fourth jhana to third jhana, when he is coming, that he start to breathe in and out. His bodily formation will start. Then from the second jhana to first jhana, when he comes, he will have the thought and sustained thought. That is, that's a verbal formation will start. So this the then after that he will wake up from first jhana to normal level. So this is the level of mind, right? So all these levels. Okay, and now it will go a little bit deeper. Friend, how many conditions are there for the attainment of neither painful nor pleasant deliverance of mind? Okay, so this now deliverance of mind. How many conditions are there for the attainment of neither painful nor pleasant deliverance of mind? Friend, there are 4 conditions for the attainment of the neither painful nor pleasant deliverance of mind. Here, with the abandoning of pleasure and pain, and with the previously disappearance of joy and grief, a bhikkhu enters upon and abide in the 4th jhana. This is the state of 4th jhana, which has neither pain nor pleasure and purity of mindfulness due to equanimity. Right? These are the 4 conditions for the attainment of neither painful nor pleasant deliverance of mind. Okay, these are the 4 states. So now after that, Kotita Bhante is asking further questions. When how many conditions are there for the attainment of signless deliverance of mind? There's no sign of deliverance of mind. How many states are there? Okay, and this one, then Sariputta Bhante explaining, friend, there are 2 conditions for the attainment of signless deliverance of mind. Non-attention to all signs and attention to the signless element. Actually, that this is explained about enlightened monk, right? So how the attainment. These are the 2 conditions for attainment of signless deliverance of mind. Okay, signless of deliverance of mind, it's like that. Okay, now after that, he asked further question, friend, how many conditions are there for the persistence of signless deliverance of mind? Okay, friend, there are 3 conditions for persistence of the signless deliverance of mind. Okay, when you come back to normal, non-attention to all signs, attention to signless element, and prior determination of its duration. Okay, so when somebody is going to that even Nirodha Samavatti, they decided previously how much duration they are going to stay. Usually it's 7 days. Sometimes Sariputta Bhante stay there, cessation of feeling and perception. 1 day, some sutras explains. Okay, the friend, there are 3 conditions for persistence of signless deliverance of mind. Non-attention to all signs, attention to signless element, and prior determination of its duration. These are the 3 conditions for the persistence of the signless deliverance of mind. Okay, now he asked for the question, friend, how many conditions are there for emergence from signless deliverance of mind? So waking up from that. Friend, there are 2 conditions for emergence from the signless deliverance of mind: attention to all signs and non-attention to signless element. These are the 2 conditions for emergence from the signless deliverance of mind. Waking up from that. Friend, the immeasurable deliverance of mind. You must have heard about the immeasurable deliverance of mind. the deliverance of mind through nothingness, the deliverance of mind through voidness, and signless deliverance of mind, are these states different in meaning and different in name, or are they one in meaning and different only name? Right? So there he's asking, all those things are different from name and they are really understanding, or they are same but they given different names. But Sariputta Bhante explains here, friend, the immeasurable deliverance of mind, right? Deliverance of mind through nothingness, the deliverance of mind through voidness, and singleness, signless deliverance of mind. There is a way in which these states are different in meaning and different in name. And there is a way in which they are one in meaning and different only in name. Right? So, and there's two states. Okay, now Kottida Bhante is asking, okay, somebody can read this one. Okay, I will read this one. Friend, is the way in which these states are different in meaning and different in name. So, okay. Now, this must be familiar to you. Okay. Can somebody read that?
Can I please?
Yes,
Okay.
sure.
Here a bhikkhu obeys, pervading one quarter with a mind imbued with a loving kindness. Likewise the second, likewise the third, likewise the fourth, so above, below, around, and everywhere. And to all as to himself, he obeys, pervading the all-encompassing world with the mind imbued with loving kindness, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. He obeys, pervading one quarter with a mind imbued with compassion.
Yeah.
He obeys.
Okay. Now, Sariputta Bhante is explaining here that different in meaning and different in name, that he is spreading loving kindness meditation to all the 10 directions, and compassionate meditation, and not only that, appreciative joy meditation and equanimity meditation. So yeah, this is the way that explaining that immeasurable deliverance. Okay, and what, friend, is the deliverance of mind through nothingness? What is the, and somebody can read this one?
Okay, I can. Here with the complete surmounting of the base of infinite consciousness, aware that there is nothing, a bhikkhu enters upon and abates in the base of nothingness. This is called the deliverance of mind through nothingness.
Yeah, here the complete surmounting of the base of infinite consciousness. He is not attached to that one. His mind is, there's nothing there, right? A bhikkhu enters upon and abides in this base of nothingness. There's nothingness means there's nothing called I am mind myself. Okay, and what, friend, is the deliverance of mind through voidness? Here bhikkhu gone to the forest or to the root of a tree or to empty heart, reflect thus, this is void of a self or what belongs to self. This is called deliverance of mind through voidness. Or this is, sorry, that this is the call that void of self, right? And so there's nothing, I am mind myself. What is this called? Deliverance of mind through voidness. There's nothing called I am mind myself. Okay. And what, friend, is the signless deliverance of mind? Here, with non-attention to all signs, a bhikkhu enters upon and abides in the signless concentration of mind, This is called the signless deliverance of mind. This is the way in which these states are different in meaning and different in name. Okay, and what, friend, is the way in which these states are one in meaning and different only in name? Last is a make of mean measurement. So somebody who does not have last is a measurement of last is a make of measurement. Hate is a mark of measurement. Delusion is a mark of measurement. So last is a marker of measurement. Hate is a mark of measurement. Delusion is a mark of measurement. In bhikkhu, whose taints are destroyed, these are abandoned, cut off at root, make like a palm stump, done away with, so that they are no longer subject to future arising. So there's no lust, hatred, and delusion there, of all kinds of immeasurable deliverance of mind. The unshakable deliverance of mind is pronounced the best. Now, that unshakable deliverance of mind is void of lust, void of hate, void of delusion. Okay. So then he explains further, Sariputta Bhante, lust is something, hate is something, also delusion is something. In bhikkhu whose taints are destroyed, that means enlightened monk, these are abandoned, cut off at root, make like a palm stump, done away with, so that they are no longer subject to future rising. Okay, enlightened monk, they remove all these taints of all the kinds of deliverance of mind through nothingness. The unshakable deliverance of mind is pronounced the best. Now that unshakable deliverance of mind is void of lust, void of hate, and void of delusion. That's the same way that explained in Sariputta Bhante. Lust is a mark of sign, hate is a mark of sign, delusion is a mark of sign. In bhikkhu, those taints are destroyed, these are abandoned, cut off at root, make like a palm stump, done away with, so they are no longer subject to future arising of all the kinds of singleness, deliverance of mind. The unshakable deliverance of mind is pronounced the best. Now that unshakable deliverance of mind is void of lust, all these things are explained the same way, right? So this is the way that Sariputta Bhante explained, and Venerable Mahakottita was satisfied and delighted in the Venerable Sariputta's word. It's at the end that it explains that all the enlightened monks, how they see that all these attainment, right? And before that, Sariputta Bhante explains that the difference of this one. Okay, so this is the sutta. By understanding this one, may all of us be fortunate to understand Buddha's teachings and attain supreme bliss of Nibbana in this Gautama Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so you may have 1,000 questions now. All right, so, and yeah, you can ask now.
Bhante, may I ask my question?
Yes.
I kind of have two questions. So one is on emptiness. Is emptiness is it also voidness or singleness? That's my first question.
Yeah, I mean that the second one, Sariputta Bhante explains that all these things are that voidness is no lust, hatred, or delusion. That is one way. And previously he explains that different ways, right?
So it's similar, empty.
Yeah, empty means that it's empty from, this is the way, that in the usual world, the emptiness that you remove your old thoughts, it's empty. It is not like that.
Not like
So
that.
empty of that I am mind myself,
Yeah.
empty of
Greed, hate, and delusion.
greed, hatred and delusion. So that is that called.
Okay.
At the end.
The second question is the attainment of cessation or
Yeah.
nibbana, the state of nibbana, where there's no becoming, no birth, no death. I guess that's the ultimate goal,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
The cessation of everything. So once an Arahant reaches that state,
Yes.
and then comes out, they still have to deal with the mundane life that they lead, right?
Yeah.
So it is just a peaceful, blissful state that they can access and abide in anytime they choose. Is that correct? Right?
Yeah. So that they have to live that the life. So they have the experience that bodily pain, right? So if there's any, but they are not attached to only anything that they can taste the food, that they are not attached to that or the taste, right? So they live that outside you cannot understand, but internally, so they're detached, right?
So one can never know who's an Arahant and who's not. Only a Buddha can know who's actually.
Yes, and
right?
the person who
Okay.
became Arahant, they can know.
Mm-hmm.
It is not the just state that that because of you don't feel anything or I became Arahant, or some people used to say that these days it's not like that. It can follow that all these stages, right? So
yeah, gradual training, gradual
development.
Yeah.
So faith follower, Dhamma followers, non-stream entrant, once returner, non-returner, and after that enlightenment.
Thank you, Bhante. It was wonderful. Thank you so much.